So I've prepared another baking sheet and a cutting board for my carving surface. You can definitely use a wooden cutting board. I do find there's a lot of juice, so I like this method because it doesn't scratch up the baking sheet, but it also collects all the juices. First, I'm just going to remove the aluminum foil and take out the meat thermometer. This turkey has already been resting for about half an hour, so it should be safe to handle. And the internal temperature has reached 175, which is the temperature that I like to make sure the turkey hits before serve it. If you don't hit 175 once it started cooling, you can always put it back in the oven. So the first thing you want to do is remove the legs. So I'm just going to cut off this skin here and cut down here. And you basically want to cut into, there's going to be a bit of a joint that you want to cut down into, and the drumstick should just come off. So there you go. It's the first drumstick. And let's get the second one. So again, you're just sort of cutting the skin around it, just so that it loosens. And you want to get to, there's going to be a joint. You just want to sever the drumstick from that joint. I think this turkey is a little bit too tender. Some of the meat is falling off, but there we have it, second drumstick. The next part I like to do is to remove the wings. So I don't find that a lot of people eat the wing, but it's pretty easy to remove. You're just cutting in, separating the skin, and if it's cooked well, it actually separates very easily. So you just want to loosen a little bit of the skin there, and it should just pull off. You want to cut down sort of along the breastbone, and I don't know if you can see it here. You do need a fork for this. I think this is going to be pretty hot. And you just want to separate the meat from the breastbone and cut down along the side. So when I slice the turkey breast, I like to just make sure that I'm slicing sort of against the grain. So I can see the grain going this way. So I'm just going to slice it like this. Now when you brine the turkey, and if you let it rest, it shouldn't shred the way that sometimes a dry turkey can, and you get like sort of pulled turkey instead of proper cuts of turkey. So when you're carving a turkey, you are going to get your hands messy. Once I sort of remove the breast and the leg meat, I do find it's just easier to get in there with your hands. Definitely wash your hands first. So I just pull out a lot of the meat from the bone. And again, I'm going to be making a stock from the turkey. So don't be afraid to, or don't feel like you have to take off every single piece of meat. So if you don't get to this part before dinner, you can always go back and remove the meat after it's cooled and use it for soups. Any bits of fat, I just sort of place on the baking tray, and I'm going to use it for stock later. Some people like the butt of a turkey, but personally it's not something I like to eat, so I'll go ahead and put that away as well and save it for the stock. So once you've sort of picked off the meat on the side, turn it over, and you'll find there's quite a bit of meat underneath as well. And I pull off all the meat first with my hands, and then I'll go back and cut it up if I'm serving it with dinner. So if you look, this skin isn't as brown. I prefer to just sort of put it in the stock, but you can definitely serve it if you like. There's actually a lot of meat in turkey. When it's brined, it actually is a lot easier to remove the meat, I find. It's just not as dry. So if you make the turkey in advance and you want to either reheat it or sort of just let it sit for a little bit before your guest arrives so you can make other things, what I like to do is take a little bit of the stock and just pour it over the turkey. That'll keep it moist, but it'll also help if you have to reheat it. It'll just make it heat a little bit more thoroughly. And even if you're serving it right away, you can always add a little bit of stock as well. That's the great thing about making your own stock. It just sort of allows you to add a bit of flavor where needed.